Uranus has just completed its journey through Taurus as of April 2026, yet we have coming up in June Chiron moving into Taurus, where it will hang out at 0 degrees of Taurus from June 19th until September 17th. This means that Chiron, the wounded healer, is bringing our attention to what we are ready to consciously move through, reprogram, and newly stabilize in the Taurus energies of your chart. So that means there is really no rest for these Taurus energies as Chiron is coming into the sign and bringing greater consciousness to what we need to make a good life. What does it mean to you to live a life that is satisfying, enjoyable, creative, harmonious? What does it mean to you to live a life that is strong, stable, and based on what you really value? Chiron moving into a new astrology sign will trigger and bring up what needs to be healed and what needs to be approached in a different way. Chiron is the wounded healer. It is an asteroid located between Saturn and Uranus, and it takes us on a healing journey from the physical, time-based world of Saturn into the otherworldly, awakened, higher perspective expressions of Uranus. And so when Chiron changes signs, we are essentially changing the frequency of that particular astrological sign and becoming more open to the potentials of what it could be, often through triggers, crisis points, and uncomfortable realizations. Now, we never want to really go into that, but when we understand the wisdom that Chiron brings about, we're able to basically get stronger and prepare for a healing journey here in the Taurus energies and expressions. And so at a realistic level, Chiron in Taurus is going to bring our attention to the earth, Gaia, resources, the land. It's going to make us more aware of what we have at our disposal. It brings our attention to the climate, to materialism, to what resources we have here on Earth that are readily abundant and available, and the ones that are now scarce that we no longer have access to. Chiron in Taurus brings our attention to what we are doing on this planet and the effects it has taken on the planet, especially over the last 50 years. Now, it's important to recognize that we are approaching our collective Chiron return in 2027 once Chiron gets to 3 degrees of Taurus. So we are embarking upon a whole new level of awareness of what we're doing here on Gaia, how we are using the planet, how we are either caring for it or not, and what has unfolded, especially over the past 50 years, in regards to the state of Earth. So that's going to be one of the bigger overarching themes of Chiron and Taurus, and we're going to see those themes even more pronounced the middle of 2026. So at a more realistic level, this is going to bring our attention to land ownership. It is going to show us where the land is being beautifully cared for or not. It's going to show us the resources that are still available to us and what is no longer able to be developed, mined, or used. Chiron in Taurus is bringing our attention more readily to everything from oil and fuel to more about how the planet is able to hold and absorb all of the changes that have unfolded in the past 50 years. More specifically, the effects of pollution, consumerism, materialism, what is in the ocean, those big islands of debris and garbage, for example. All of that is a part of the Chiron and Taurus energies because it's all connected to our physical world and what we experience on the planet, what we've created. So this is going to bring up some crisis points for us to address collectively. There's also going to be more here that we need to stabilize in regards to how we make money, whether that is your daily occupation or even just assessing your career goals and your professional path and where you go next. especially when you take into consideration how technology, AI, and very futuristic advancements are changing many industries and many professions. You could have concerns around that. You could have concerns around how you're able to make an income that either supports your family or simply covers the basics of life. Now, one thing that Chiron will do as it changes signs is that it will amplify the fear and the wound. It will stir up that insecurity and that deep unknown around, what do I do if I don't have this? That's because Chiron is going to bring up our fears around loss and lack. And why is that? Because Chiron addresses the weaker unconscious elements of an astrology sign. So for all the ways that Taurus is about accumulation, purchases, creativity, making the world more beautiful, enjoying the physical world through our five senses, Chiron brings in, okay, so what are you going to repair in order to be stronger in these areas? And it reveals what is not solid in the foundation, where you have maybe some things you have covered up or you haven't wanted to look at because of how it stirs up that insecurity and uncertainty. Chiron is going to bring it to the forefront. Chiron is going to show us, okay, actually this isn't working for you, or this is not really in alignment with who you are. This isn't truly what you value, what you want, what you need. And so now is the time to look at this in a more thoughtful manner and to be more empowered around what you can do differently. Chiron requires a change of direction, a change of path. In fact, one of the key words of Chiron is alternative. Chiron is not mainstream. It's not an energy or a typical traditional mode. It's where we're needing to open up to, what can I do that is alternative, that's off the beaten path? What are my choices here that I never considered before because I was locked into a traditional mode of going about things and I was fine with the status quo? Chiron says, well, actually, that isn't going to work or be sustainable long term. So it's time for new solutions and new options that you just didn't consider before. This is going to be something that is being strongly felt in the collective, especially the middle of June to the middle of September 2026. Then Chiron retrogrades back into Aries and will fully return again to Taurus in 2027, where it will stay until 2034. So we're getting a sampling here of the Chiron and Taurus themes as it moves to 0 degrees of the sign, and is going to instigate something for you to change in your own life in a physical, tangible way. Now, Chiron in the earth signs means that we have to work for something. We have to apply actual physical effort, labor, and invest our time in order to get those results. This is a slow moving, steady force of nature. And Chiron in Taurus is where you're probably going to see at a very simple, clear level what's wrong, or what isn't right for you, or what you don't want. And so that's going to be one of the gifts of Chiron in Taurus, is that you may be able to see it so evidently that you can identify it quickly, but then we have to set to work and build up what is the new option or the new pathway. So in a way, you can look at this as Chiron in Taurus is going to be directing all of us to new alternative means, to new ways of living our lives that we didn't consider, perhaps we just weren't ready for, whatever the case may be. But Chiron is saying this is a time to feel stronger and clearer in what you do want, but you have to acknowledge what you don't want. So I feel this is where many people are going to now have to be building up and developing more of their own work, business, or income in a new way that they didn't previously consider. Now, we can logically tie this in to the effects of AI, what is being streamlined, what is being changed and advanced across multiple companies and businesses. And this is where we're being brought back into the basics of ourselves. And I feel this could be a beautiful gift for each of us, where Chiron and Taurus is bringing you back into who you really are, outside of typical societal programming, or outside of who you thought you had to be in order to be successful or feel worthy. This is Chiron saying, but what do you really love? What do you really want to create? What really is an example of who you are in this life? Meaning, what do you value, and are you truly owning that and loving it? I feel that this Chiron in Taurus is also going to open us up to new ways of embracing and connecting with new earth values, even simplifying our lives and bringing us back to basics here that remind us of the goodness of being human, the goodness of our five senses and the pleasures of our five senses. There is a sense here too of reconnecting with the body and the physical world that brings about new energies of feeling alive and also feeling at peace. Now, all of these developments come about through the healing journey of Chiron. So we might not feel this right away. In fact, we probably won't, because Chiron is going to trigger what needs to be healed and what needs to be changed. But it's important to keep this in mind in terms of the longer term perspective, that Chiron in Taurus wants you to live a solid, happy, pleasurable life. What is in the way? What has been holding you back from that? Where have we become disconnected from our own humanness? And there will be opportunities here to assess your life and determine what you really need and what is essential versus what is excessive, what you have accumulated too much of, and what you're realizing is holding you down or holding you back. So Chiron in Taurus could reveal to you, especially here in 2026, what you have too much of and you just want to get rid of it. It's become too heavy. You're burdened by it. It's excessive. There's going to be openings here into what we really need and what we don't. And this is where many people are going to be cutting back. Now, the cutting back could come out of economic necessity, simply based on what is happening in the world at this time with rising costs in gas, inflation, supplies, food. This means that we have to cut back in other areas of our lives. There are economists actually highlighting the same period of time, saying that the summer into fall here in the Northern Hemisphere could be a time when people are really feeling the effects of what is going on with war energies and with supplies that are not moving through the supply chain as efficiently as they normally do. There has been talks of rationing, of cutting back, and depending where you are in the world, you may already be feeling these effects. But when we look at it in regards to Taurus energies, Chiron in Taurus, we're being asked to use less, have less, be okay with less. But I think what's interesting here is it doesn't mean that you are less. You don't deserve less. Your self-worth is not meant to sink or take in these changes. Rather, this could be an opportunity to feel newly abundant and alive with what you can choose and create next. And so getting back to this whole simplifying and back to basics energy of Taurus is that there could be some things here that you're understanding that you really don't need them anymore. You feel more free without them, and that is a gift to your overall lifestyle and general enjoyment of life. So there is a cutting back theme here that's really strong, but I feel that the shift or the difference is in determining how much you let that affect your true core belief system, where you understand that you are abundant, that you can still feel very strong and clear in what you want to manifest, and that this is also perhaps a shift in your consciousness around what you value and what you don't. So a higher arching understanding of Chiron and Taurus is going to bring us into a deeper connection of our belief systems, and where we still feel so strong and rooted in our own power and core self, that the external world and all the changes that are happening all around us don't touch that. you don't feel that it's something you have to take on personally. Rather, you're allowing this to be an opportunity to reassess what is essential to you and what is not. I also feel that part of this Chiron in Taurus is going to open up new ways to create money, and that we will be encouraged to look at those alternative pathways. Again, Chiron being about doing something new and different. Chiron is also where you are misunderstood, where you aren't fully seen. It's where a part of yourself isn't fully revealed. And so there could be things here that you also are sensing you want to retract and figure out in your own way before discussing it or revealing it to others. This Chiron and Taurus theme is going to be showing up through how we feel deserving of living a life that we have created without holding back what you have made or developed, even if others are going through a very different experience. I feel that there's going to be some opportunities here for others to step into higher levels of self-worth and to not shrink or feel like they have to decline what is true for them. So this Chiron in Taurus actually wants you to remain strong in your self-value and your self-worth. There's also going to be opportunities here for you to build something new that maybe is more personal because it is deeply aligned with what you want to experience in this lifetime. So we will keep discussing these Chiron in Taurus themes, of course, as it will stay in Taurus into 2034. But here in 2026, we're just getting a sampling of the energies, and it's bringing you into greater connection with your own healing potential and your own ability to develop a stronger internal core that can handle all of the shifts and changes on the planet. So I'll be back to discuss more of that soon, but I hope this gives you a heads up, especially in a practical way, around what might be shifting for you as Chiron moves into Taurus starting the middle of June. So always good to have the heads up. Also, this is something that is going to be working with the collective. So take things into your own hands as needed, meaning if there's things you need to be planning for or adjusting for accordingly, this is the time to do it. This is also where that Chiron in Taurus may bring your attention to scarcity or lack messages that you have been processing and holding. So know that you might now be ready to approach those internal messages in a new way, and this could be part of what you're healing. So again, a lot more to talk about this, and we'll do so in the years to come, but hope this gives you a good heads up on the Chiron in Taurus ingress that begins in June and how it will be working with each of us individually and collectively. As always, I greatly appreciate you on this page. It's such a beautiful community of people, and I know that so many of you came in with so much wisdom. So feel free to share in the comments anything that you are moving through or where you would like help, because this community is so helpful and so active with each other. It's a beautiful gift, and you might find that if you ask something, there are other people who can chime in with information or answers that are just what you need. So thank you so much for being here as always, and I'll be back with another video for you soon.